Okay, last time we saw each other, we found out exactly what stress is. And if you remember, stress is something that ruins emotional and structural stability. And to recap, stress is going to be different for each person. Something that's stressful to me may not be stressful to you. So we have to understand when stress occurs for us because that is an individual thing. In this session, we're actually going to talk about 5 specific causes of stress. Number one is work pressure. We all have to work, and we understand that because we have to make a living. We got to pay the rent, etc., etc. But what happens at work, sometimes there are lots of constraints like deadlines that cannot be met, people that we have to deal with where we have conflict, people we cannot communicate with, or we feel like we do not have a voice, we do not belong, etc., etc., etc. So what happens, we have to spend anywhere from 40 to 60 hours there at the job. That pressure just ensues and we're stressed, so we can't escape from it. So that's work pressure. Number two cause is home pressure. We know we have to live at home either with our husband, our wife, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, our children, or maybe we live alone. No matter what the situation is, there is going to be some pressures at home. Maybe your significant other is telling you that the food is not done right, or the house is not clean enough for them, or the children aren't wearing the appropriate clothes, or maybe the children are complaining that you aren't spending enough time with them because you have to work all the time. So that's where the work pressure kind of spills over into the home life, and so you have added stress from both situations. Another thing that can occur at home is abuse, whether it's physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. That really takes a toll on your spirit. And you feel worthy, you feel guilty, you just lose your self-esteem, and you feel unloved and like you have no purpose, and you also feel like you don't have a way out. So that can be a very stressful situation in itself, the abuse. So everything at home doesn't necessarily have to be as drastic as abuse, but there are definitely pressures at home. So that's number two, home pressure. Number three is a traumatic life experience. That's going to be something that comes on suddenly, like an accident where you're out of work. It could be a death, a divorce, a marriage, a birth, any of those things where you're losing a part of yourself, or maybe you're gaining something new, and it's all a brand new experience and you have to learn to deal with it. Probably the most traumatic of these situations is death. You just lost a loved one. You have to undergo the grieving process. You just have to, it's just sad, and it takes a toll on your emotions. You have to learn to deal with life without that person there, and that's just stressful in yourself. So it's important, if you're dealing with a traumatic life experience, to be able to depend on your loved ones and seek out some type of counseling. So that's number three, a traumatic life experience. Number four, and this may be surprising to you, maybe not, is the news. The news can be very stressful because if we watch the news, or we pay attention to the newspapers or the online blogs and newscasts, that type of thing, most of it is negative, right? Very seldom do we see a positive news story. So if we become clouded and our mind becomes cluttered with that negative information, we'll tend to have a negative and a pessimistic outlook of the world, because what's going on? We see people dying, we see people killing one another, there's abuse, children are being stolen, all of that, and we just tend to think that that's the way the world is and that's the way that it's going to be. So sometimes what we need to do is turn the news off. Yes, I said it. Turn it off, because the news can be very stressful, especially to our emotional capacity and our mental capacity, because like I said, our mind becomes cluttered with negative thoughts. That's number 4, the news. Number 5, cause of stress is you. Yes, you. You are causing the stress in your life because you take on too much. You have an inability to say no. You know, when people ask you, oh, can you do this? Can you go there? Can you do this? Oh, I know you can. You are the best. You are the best. I know you're going to do this for me. What do? You agree. You don't know how to say no. So what does that do? That causes you unnecessary stress, and it was brought on by you. Or another situation that you can prevent is time management. If you understand that you do not have enough time to do certain activities, then don't do them. I mean, everything is not possible and you need time to relax. So that's the number 5 cause of stress. You have total control over your life and what you do, and avoiding these stressful situations. So next thing we're going to talk about is different stress styles and how you can recognize your stress style, because some of you may be addicts. Yeah, you can be a stress addict. So we're going to talk about that next time.